Surprising truths of smart minds. What if everything you thought about intelligence was wrong? We live in a world that worships smartness. High IQ, sharp memory, quick wit. These are the badges of honor we celebrate. We imagine smart minds as flawless machines of logic and brilliance. But the surprising truth is this: being smart isn't what you think it is. In fact, many of the world's greatest philosophers, Jung, Nietzsche, Socrates, Frankl, warned that intelligence often hides paradoxes, struggles, and vulnerabilities that no one talks about. This article will uncover the unexpected realities of smart minds, the emotional burdens they carry, the traps of overthinking, and the profound ways philosophy helps us understand the gift and curse of intelligence. Stay with me until the end, because once you see these truths, you'll never look at smart the same way again. 1. Smart minds are rarely at peace. The first surprising truth is that intelligent people often live with restless minds. A smart brain doesn't switch off. It questions, analyzes, pulls threads until everything unravels. What looks like brilliance to others often feels like torment on the inside. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." But the problem for many intelligent people is they constantly question their why. Am I on the right path? Is life meaningful? What if I'm missing something bigger? This endless questioning is a strength, but also a heavy burden. Smart minds rarely settle because they see too many angles, too many possibilities, too many reasons to doubt. 2. Emotional depth, not just logic. The stereotype is that smart people are cold, calculating, purely logical. But philosophers and psychologists alike discovered something different. Intelligence is often paired with emotional intensity. Carl Jung called this the depth of the unconscious. Smart minds don't just think more, they feel more. That's why many brilliant people struggle with anxiety, sensitivity, or even depression. Their emotional radar is as sharp as their intellectual one. They don't just see the world, they absorb it. And that depth of feeling is often what fuels art, philosophy, and creativity. Without it, intelligence alone is sterile. 3. The trap of overthinking. Perhaps the most universal struggle of smart minds, analysis paralysis. A simple decision becomes an endless debate. A small mistake spirals into catastrophe in the mind. A possibility becomes a dozen scenarios, each more complex than the last. Socrates himself was famous for this, relentlessly questioning every assumption until even basic truths dissolved. His brilliance was not in giving answers, but in asking questions that had no end. But here lies the paradox. The same mind that can solve problems for the world often struggles to solve its own. 4. Loneliness of the outsider. Another surprising truth: smart minds often feel profoundly alone. Why? Because depth isolates. When you see patterns others miss, when you ask questions that unsettle, when your thoughts wander into territories most people avoid, it can feel like you live on a different wavelength. Nietzsche called this the loneliness of the higher type. To walk ahead of the crowd often means walking alone. But philosophy offers comfort here. Throughout history, the greatest minds always carried that loneliness. It is not a curse, it is a companion of depth. 5. The black swan of genius intelligence is not always visible in grades, test scores, or job titles. Sometimes it emerges suddenly, unpredictably, like a black swan event. Taleb's theory of black swans, rare, unpredictable events that reshape history, applies to minds as well. A single, unexpected insight, a creative breakthrough, a radical idea can emerge from nowhere and change everything. Philosophy reminds us, genius is not always about steady achievement. It's about those unpredictable moments when the mind sees what no one else could see. 6. The savior's paradox of intelligence. Here's another paradox. Smart people often want to save others with their ideas, insights, or advice. But like the savior's paradox teaches, trying to rescue others can backfire. Intelligent people sometimes overwhelm, lecture, or try to control, believing they know best. The truth is, Wisdom isn't forcing knowledge onto others. Wisdom is walking with them, guiding without taking away their journey. This is where philosophy humbles intelligence. The point of being smart is not to dominate, it's to serve meaningfully. 7. Suffering as a teacher. Viktor Frankl, survivor of the concentration camps, gave us one of the most profound truths. Suffering in itself is meaningless. We give it meaning by the way we respond to it. For smart minds, suffering is often sharper. They can see every possibility of loss, every what if, every reason to despair. But suffering, paradoxically, becomes the soil of meaning. The surprising truth, many of the greatest ideas, works of art, and philosophies came not from joy, but from pain, reframed into purpose. 8. The gift and the curse of vision. Smart people see further ahead. They predict consequences others ignore. They imagine futures others can't. This is both a gift and a curse, because foresight can bring anxiety. Seeing the cracks before others do means carrying the weight of problems not yet real. But philosophy reframes this. Vision is not meant to paralyze. It's meant to prepare. To see deeper is not a punishment. It's a responsibility. 9. Intelligence without wisdom is empty. And here is the ultimate truth. Smart minds without philosophy are incomplete, because intelligence can tell you how to build a weapon, but only wisdom asks if you should. Intelligence can maximize profit, but wisdom asks about meaning. Intelligence can argue endlessly, but wisdom seeks truth. Philosophy is the bridge. It transforms raw intelligence into something greater. Wisdom, compassion, depth. The world doesn't just need smart minds, it needs wise ones. Closing, the mirror of philosophy. So, what are the surprising truths of smart minds? They are restless, emotional, lonely, vulnerable to overthinking. But they are also capable of depth, creativity, vision, and meaning beyond measure. Philosophy shows us that intelligence is not about perfect answers. It's about the courage to face uncertainty, the humility to admit what we don't know, and the wisdom to turn thought into truth. If you carry the weight of a smart mind, know this: your struggle is not a flaw. It is the fire that shapes you, and the world needs your fire.